Copenhagen Airport. This is where a lot of hunting adventures begins. We are on our way to board a flight to Frankfurt, and then from Frankfurt to Baku in Azerbaijan. We're gonna hunt for Dagestan Tur, and it's an adventure I've been looking forward to for years. It's a dream trip for me, so I just can't wait to get going. So I'll see you guys in Baku. Welcome to Baku in Azerbaijan. It's midnight and we are on our way to the hotel. We're gonna be picked up tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. The temperature is about 30 degrees and it's very humid. We're not quite sure what it's gonna be like in the mountains, but I presume it's not this warm weather, but we'll see. So now we're here, we're excited, and tomorrow we go hunting. So we've changed vehicles. The wonderful minibus has been changed into this old lorry. It looks well used and it looks like it's an all-terrain car. Everyone's going to get in back in a few minutes and then we drive to base camp. We don't know how long it's going to take. We don't actually know that much, but now we're on the way. So let's get on. So we are on the horses on our way to base camp. We are riding up this riverbed. It just goes on for miles and miles. Apparently we've got a few hours of riding and then we reach base camp. So it's just great to be on the way, on the move. The horses are heavy laden with equipment, all our food, us, our backpacks, our rifles and everything, so it's hard going for them. It's tough terrain, but they are struggling on. Everyone else is riding back here. And we are on our way to Tur country, right up here. Welcome to base camp. We've ridden for a few hours up through this valley, and that brought us to this beautiful hut. We have running water. There it is. It's mountain water coming out of the hill and then through a hose and through a bottle. So we have fresh water, we have a generator. They've opened up a fire in the stove, so we are in for a good meal. And then tomorrow we're going up those mountains. because up there on top is where the tour lives. So now it's just an evening of a nice meal, resting the legs before we have to climb up that mountain. We'll do that tomorrow. So we've walked about 20 minutes from base camp. We're already starting to hunt because the chief guide just asked for my binoculars. He's gonna carry them, which makes perfect sense because I've never seen a tour in real life. He's much more experienced, he has better eyes, he knows what he's looking for. So he'll be carrying my binoculars, and I assume that the plan for today is we've got about 5-6 hours hike up to where we are gonna make our spike camp. But on the way, we're gonna look up the valleys to see if we can spot any tours. We've cut down our gear to the absolutely necessities. We are only these guys to carry. It's a tough hike. It's warm, it's steep. So it's gonna be basic, but it's just beautiful to look at. But we'll see. Now we're actually hunting. Okay, this is really tough. I knew and I was warned that it's gonna be tough, but this is crazy. Sometimes it seems like it would be easier to scale a brick house wall. It's that steep. We've been hiking for about 2 hours. It's about 30 degrees warm. I think I have maybe 20 kilos in my backpack, and right next to us the guides are hiking with more stuff than I have on their backs, and they seem like it's just a walk in the park. We are on our way. It's still fun-ish, but it's tough. It's really, really tough. So, about 3 hours ago, I mistakenly thought that I only had 10 meters left of hiking before spike camp. But due to some serious miscommunication, spike camp is up on that ridge. It's about 100 altitude meters away, 200 meters, and I really can't get the energy to walk that. About 2 hours ago, I ran out of water. Around the same time, I stopped sweating because there was no more sweat left in my body. And for the last 3 hours, we didn't really know how far we had till spike camp. And now I know, and it's just, it's blowing my mind. I can't imagine walking that little distance compared to what we have been walking, but this is so incredibly hard. But only about 200 meters left. Let's go, I guess. So 7 hours of tough climbing has brought us here to this beautiful spike camp. I'm not sure what I had expected, but I assumed we were going to come to a mountaintop and rolling hills and grassy flats where we could put up a tent. But I can sense that this, where I'm sitting, is a sleeping position. They've put some rocks up so you don't roll over the mountain in your sleep. And it's a steep mountain. The ridge is just up here. In the next valley is where we're gonna hunt tours. So this is where we're gonna sleep and live for, I don't know, 2-3 days. It's been, without a doubt, the toughest day of my life, and it's only day one. I'm not sure how this is gonna go, but it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So we are lying here waiting in Spike Camp. We just had lunch, which was some boiled chicken and dried toast. It's about 6 o'clock and it's very, not necessarily foggy, but the clouds are all around us, so we can't really see anything. We're lying here just waiting for the tours to come down into the next valley. So either the clouds have to lift, or we can hear those rocks falling off the mountain when the tour is moving. It's a waiting game now, and it's nice to just relax a little bit because it's still very tough on my body. But this is nice. We're just waiting. After waiting a few hours, the clouds all of a sudden lifted, and in the middle of this rock slide on the other side, there's a tour. He's alone, so that indicates it's a billy. We're just looking at him to see if it's big enough to shoot, but he's only 350 meters away. So from nothing happening, all of a sudden it's action time. Let's see what the boss says. So the chief guide says this tour is about 6-8 years old. That's a bit too young. I would like a mature or an old tour. I haven't spent my worst or hardest day climbing this mountain to shoot a young tour on the first hunting day. But the thing about this tour, it's that if you shoot one or if you miss one, then all the tours in the valley will leave this valley. So then you need to spend a whole day climbing down, probably a new whole day climbing up to a different valley, because there will be no tours in this valley for 2 or 3 days if I fire a shot. I don't think I'm gonna shoot more than one tour on this trip, so it has to be a mature billy. need to shoot a world record, it just has to be a mature buck, and doesn't matter how many centimeters the horns are. So I think we're gonna get a cold night on this mountain, and then hopefully this guy will bring his dad or granddad tomorrow morning, but we'll see. Good morning. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Last night, when the sun went down, I actually assumed we were gonna sleep up on the ridge line. But the guides, they took us 20 meters down the mountain where there was a relatively flat, kind of like a pan. And I say relatively because on this mountain there's no flat places. So they put up the tent, and about 8 o'clock we went in the tent. And since then I've slept maybe 3 minutes. It's unbelievably steep, so you keep sliding down your mattress. It's obviously rocky surface, so it hurts even though I was on a mattress. At about midnight I went out of the tent and went up above the tent so I could lie resting on the 2 tent poles. So it's kind of like a hammock, but the hammock was made out of 10 poles and a rocky mountain, so it wasn't that pleasant. Now we're gonna climb or pack up all this kit and go up the mountain back to the ridge line, and then wait for the sun to rise, and then hopefully the tours will go into our valley. I hope so. Mostly because I don't think I can stand another night in this tent, but we'll see. So our boss, who is right beside me here, has made a plan in the next valley over this mountain. There's 30 tours. They are about 1.5 kilometers away. The first plan, or the boss's first suggestion, was that we climbed this mountain, which is in the back, went all the way to the top, and then we were supposed to walk along the ridge to get to that comb where the tours are. That was a crazy idea because it was very steep and we only have 1 bottle of water left. So now we are sliding down this rock shingle. It's full of loose rocks, so it's you take 1 step and then you slide a few meters, and then you take 1 more step. It's not as tough as hiking up the mountain, but it's still really tough because every muscle in your body is tensed when you do this, and you have to keep your balance. So now we're gonna slide for about 800 meters, then we're gonna reach a creek, and then we can hike back up the mountain along that creek to get to where the tours are. No one said it was easy, but it's definitely not easy. So we've had a very long lunch and lunch break. We've been sitting here near the creek getting lots of water. It's 4 o'clock now, and the plan is that we're going to climb that mountain all the way to the top. The guide says it's going to last maybe an hour. It's not that steep, it's not that high, and on the other side, that's where the tour is. They've been lying down also having a break. We have one of the guides have been up in the other valley looking at them, and hopefully by the time we reach the top, the tours will get up and start their evening supper, and maybe they will come closer to us so we can get a shot. We'll see. Nevertheless, whatever happens, I think we're going to spend the night on that mountain, so that's just lovely. Normally when I'm hunting, I'm very eager and active with my binoculars. I haven't been so on this hunt. The chief guide took my binoculars from me on the first day because he would like to use them, and that's fine. But every time we walk up the mountain, he's in front. So when I get up to where he is, he's lying down and using the binoculars, and I'm just trying to get my breath back and just trying to survive this. So I haven't really used my binoculars that much. It's a bit weird, but it's just the way it is on this hunt. This morning the chief guide also took my rifle, and he's been carrying that the whole day. Normally I'm a firm believer in a hunter has to carry his own equipment, but it's just so tough. And if I were to fall with the rifle, that would be really bad. And he's much more stable on his feet. So it's less weight for me, and it's actually about safety for the gun. But it's a bit weird for me not looking in a binocular and not carrying my own rifle, but it's the way it has to be. So we've reached this flat area on this one mountaintop. The plan was actually to go to the next mountaintop to look down that valley, because that's where we've seen the animals earlier. But now there's a flock coming this way. Right now it's only females and young, but they might have a buck with them. And the next problem is, if we spook them, they might take the rest with them. But anyways, the guide has given me my rifle back, so now I have my rifle and my bipod. So that might mean that the chance is just around the corner. It might also mean that the animals are actually coming to us instead of us having to go to them for the next mountaintop. We're crossing our fingers. still I wake up with a headache and feeling nausea. It's just really tough on the body, this. Last night we actually thought we were in a good position for an ambush, but the animals just chose a different valley. And this mountain, it doesn't give up anything easily. So every time we go to one mountaintop and think we are in a good position, the animals just move to the next valley. Yesterday, we saw about 30 tours right here in this valley. So we went up to this point, and now we're waiting for them to come back. But they might as well just choose a different valley. So the morning's plan of trying to ambush all the tours that we saw yesterday failed. We only saw one female and two babies, and they left the valley calmly, just went up the mountain. So we came back here to our spike camp and packed everything down, and the boss said that the plan now is to hike back to base camp, get some warm food, get some coffee, rearrange everything, get new provisions, and then go back up the mountain. That's not something that I'm looking forward to. It's a tough climb down. It's an even tougher climb up again, and I wanna argue with them because of the decision, because we saw so many tours yesterday. But again, I have to just accept that I'm not the local guy. I don't know anything about tour hunting or mountain hunting. So it's probably the right decision, but every fiber of my body is not looking forward to those 2 very, very tough days that we have ahead of us. So even though I'm very excited about a hot meal and coffee, I would rather stay up here. But he's the boss and he decides. So now we're gonna hike down, and then we're gonna hike back up again.
Der havde de en halv times hike over til campen. Der har vi set over i Bormors, så sad
So we've made it to base camp. It's a bittersweet feeling to be here, to be honest. We've had lovely warm coffee, some warm lunch, and change of clothes and everything. But the problem is that I know that I have to go back up the mountain again, either tonight or tomorrow morning. We have 2 days left of hunting, and I think I've come to terms with the fact that I might not get a tour. It's tough hunting, it's dry, the animals are high on the mountain, but we have 2 days, so we're gonna give it a shot. But I know what's waiting, and that's the problem, I think. But there's no way to do anything different, so that's it. It's our second to last day of hunting. We've spent yesterday afternoon and all night in base camp. Had some nice warm food to eat, some warm coffee. All was good until 7-8 o'clock last night, where a farmer showed up with a lamb that apparently the cook had bought. They tied up this lamb inside the house, and of course in the middle of the night it started to make a lot of noise. They took it outside and tied it up 20 meters away, but of course it still kept on making noise all night. We have a small problem. My good friend and photographer Emil is sick, so he's not going with us. So I'm left to make the video myself. That'll be fine. I'm just happy that he's sick here in base camp and not on top of that mountain, because that's not a nice place to be sick at. So now he can stay here and rest and get some water in him. The rest of us are going up to this mountain up here, right there, to try an evening hunt tonight and tomorrow morning. That's the last two chances we got, and even though I really don't want to go up that mountain, that's where the tour lives. So that's where we're going. I know all these speaks mostly about how tough it is, and I'm sorry, but it's really tough. We've been hiking for 3 hours to this place where we're gonna make our spike camp, and my thighs are shaky. My feet hurt. I'm dizzy. I have these small flares or explosions in my vision. And the plan is now that we're gonna make camp, have lunch and rest, and then tonight we're going up there to shoot my tour, because I'm not going home without that trophy. It's 4 o'clock. We are at 3,600 meters. We're almost at the top, and we just got a radio call from base camp saying that they spotted a good tour coming up the valley right over this ridge line. So before that radio call, I think mentally I was at 5%. I was so close to giving up. That top up there just seemed to be getting longer and longer. But now there might be a situation from where we can shoot. So now my heart is not just pounding from the effort, but also from the hunting excitement. And now we're just sitting here waiting, seeing if my chief guide can spot the tour. But in the meantime, have a look at this view. You don't see this every day. It's 3 o'clock at night, and last night we were in a good position up this mountain. We had several tours moving up through the different valleys, but none of them crossed the mountain within shooting range. So we hiked back down the mountain in the darkness, had some warm food, a few hours sleep, and now we're just waiting for the coffee to boil, and then it's back up this mountain. One last chance, one last time. And I'm really, really hoping that it will work out. But nothing is guaranteed on this mountain, but we'll try. At the top of the world, we've made it to the very top of the mountain, and here behind me, it's a straight drop. We've seen some females and babies all along the mountain, but no large males. Two of the guides have continued along the ridge, and I guess we're hoping the animals will come up this way or over there. But even though this was the toughest mornings of my entire life, this view is amazing. So we're breaking camp for the last time, and it's like now that the hunt is finally over, it's like that cork that's been in the bottle of all my emotions, all my fears, all my exhaustion has just been ripped out. So I'm very emotional and upset, disappointed. We went to that peak twice in 12 hours. Every time we saw tours, but they just chose a different route. So now it's done and we're going home. All these feelings of sadness and disappointment is, I guess, a bit uncalled for, because this is just what real adventure hunting is all about. Nothing is for sure. All you can count on is it's going to be tough. You have to put yourself on the line, work hard. Maybe it works and maybe it doesn't. But I really believe we've worked hard for this. We've sweated, bled, and cried on this mountain. Poor Emil is sick, and his 2 feet are just 2 big sores from blisters. And it's really, really tough. Even though I think every day of this hunt has been the worst day of my life, nothing beats the feeling of walking down this mountain without a tour on my back. As I said, it's It's not fair, and I hope that my bitterness and disappointment and sadness will in a few days or a few weeks turn into great memories of how beautiful an adventure this has been, because it really has. But I think it's gonna take a few days.